Okay, once again, welcome to this particular session on public sector modernization. What strategies we can use in order to ensure we have better workforce within the public service, better institutions that deliver the results and services that they promise to give. My name is Joel Omike, and I will be taking the conversation on today's webinar, which is from P4P Institute, designed to enable organizations to build their capacity and also develop their competence of their team members. Our organization has been around for the past 15 years, focused in various service areas, especially in business growth, organizational development, HR transformation, AI, and data analytics. We do quite a lot around consulting services, training and capacity building, and then periodic research and advocacy in HR areas. We spend quite a lot of time helping organizations to build the capacity of their team members, both within the private sector and also in the public sector, as the case is. And in both areas where we've had the opportunity to work with these individuals and these organizations, we've been able to help them to transform from mindsets to competence, from competence to results that they're able to deliver within their organization. My name is Joel, like I said earlier, and I've spent the past 27 years helping executives to build their institution and also to lead within their current space. I am an author, I'm a HR professional, and I spend quite some time in growth, development, transformation, and also doing analytics, as the case is. One of my books, recent books, The Fire on HR, is a book that continues to encourage the need for HR to transform and to be fit for purpose at this time of the service they render for organizations. All right, so that's who we are and that's where we're coming from. So let's get into the reason why we're here today. We're here to discuss public sector modernization. In this discussion, we're going to focus on three major things. We're going to look at first, why now? Why is it important for us to move public service? We'll look at how certain institutions, other countries, and other practices have also modernized their service in the public sector. Then we'll look at certain pillars that if you want to transform the way you render service, you must pay attention to these particular pillars. And we'll look about 5 of them down the line. And at the end of the day, we shall share some tools, some frameworks to go back with and try and implement those frameworks within your own organization and see how you can make that come to life, as the case is. And if we still have time, we'll just simulate a case study of a public sector institution that needs attention and what they could do based on the experiences and the discussions we've had so far today in order to support them in this area. Feel free to unmute yourself or to share your thoughts via the chat box. Periodically, I'm going to ask a couple of questions to see whether we are following together and also to prompt you to see whether these are certain things you can take action on at this point in time within your own service. Now, whether you're a core public service professional, as the case is, or you are interested in rendering services to that sector, or generally you're interested in our publics, as the case is, you will find our conversation in the next 1 hour very, very useful. So let's start off this conversation first by looking at the call to modernize public sector, as the case is. Why is this call important? Why is it important for us to request for the modernization of public sector today? Why now, as the case is? First, there is the context of the post-pandemic and what we have seen. All right, reform is not a nice to have. It is a must have. The shocks of recent years from the pandemic that we have seen and the problems that it has created within those particular periods. The financial meltdown we have seen in various areas. There is serious crunch. Nigeria experienced a recession twice in the past 7 to 8 years, as the case is. And then also the advancement in digital expectations. All of this compress the need for us to have public sector reform, as the case is. If you put that together, citizens will no longer accept slow service, and budgets will not stretch forever. Gone are the days when public sector has an unending budget. Today, public sector is binging on their budget. They don't have enough, as the case is. There are three forces that are colliding, that are raising citizens' expectations. One is financial constraint. There isn't enough money. You see that government is becoming very creative in internal revenue generation. See what's happening in our tax system, all in an attempt for them to raise money, make more money that they can use to spend and solve some of the problems that we are going through. Also the issue of outdated capacity. Some of our civil servants have not had the privilege of proper education and development, especially in best practices of rendering services to the citizens. Sometimes the citizens are more advanced. Their expectations are way higher than what our public servants are able to render at that point in time. So this collision creates a sense of urgency, not for tomorrow, but for today. Ask yourself, does your HR unit, if you're in the public sector service, lead the reform, or do they defend the status quo of why they should be doing this the way they are doing it at this point in time? So many agencies lack legacy processes, and they lack the systems and the analytics to be able to do the right thing at that point in time. And if you look at the most of the foreign countries also, you notice that they are actively modernizing their governance to ensure that they're able to meet the trust and resilience that is expected by their citizens. The time has come also for us to do the same thing. Think about it. On a scale of 1 to 5, do you feel it is urgent for us to modernize the service we have in Nigeria, in Lagos, in Abuja, in Port Harcourt, across the entire country? Do you think that it is very urgent for us to do it now? Or do you think we should continue the way we are doing? Would you like to share a few thoughts on a scale of 1 to 5? Share on the chat box. Do you feel that this is time, that it is time for us to try and do some modernization? Or we are already fit for purpose? What do you think? Because if you notice around, periodically, people keep complaining. Yes, people keep complaining. I don't know whether the complaint is loud enough, but everybody has felt the crunch of public service not running very well. If the private sector makes a mistake, people run to the social media, and with cap in hand, the private sector goes to solve that particular problem and apologize for the mistakes and error they've made. But when our public mistake, which you see happening very often, it doesn't matter what you do on social media, nothing appears to move the needle from where it is, as the case is. And there are 5 drivers of public service modernization. So this thing we're talking about, there are 5 of them that will drive it to happen, as the case is. And they are not things far away from what we can handle, nor things that are difficult to manage at this point in time. Modernization rests on these 5 drivers. 1, policy. How we govern the people, clarity of mandates, how simple the process and procedures are in doing things, and the rationale behind the incentives that are given within the public service. 2, people. How do we lead our people? What are our performance contracts within the public service? What are the skill metrics, the competencies required to be a public servant, especially for general public service? And what are the accountability expectations in this particular area? 3, our processes. And we're talking about the operations of the public service, all right? And if you look at it end to end, do we really need a design thinking in this particular space to redesign the citizen journey from one end to another touch point within the services we receive at the public sector? 4, technology. Our technology readiness, our technology savvy, and the use of data as the case is. I must tell you, we have to give it to our public service in Nigeria when it comes to the use of data. You can see that they have really advanced in capturing and mining data and connecting data across various areas. If you see what we've done with BVN, what we've done with our NIN, what we've done with digital cameras that you find across in various areas as the cases, or our international passport, clearly we have done quite a lot. However, it is not enough for the journey the world is going at this point in time, the speed with which the world is moving. What we have done is just a scratch on that particular iceberg. There are a lot of digital platforms today. What the fintech have done to the banking industry, we need to do the same thing within governance, within our environment. Our use of our human resource information system, or as simple as dashboards, for us to be able to track and see what is happening within governance. Is there a website where we can go to and see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 KPIs about the leadership and the governance of our country, as the case is? So that's an example of what we mean by the use of data in this particular area. Finally, the 5th one is trust. Do people trust governance across various stakeholders? And I'm not just talking about the common citizen on the road. I'm speaking about the various stakeholders, the businesses, the small entrepreneurs, the policymakers, the judiciary as the cases. Is there sufficient transparency and responsiveness in the way we act and live within our environment? Are there clear, measurable outcomes in this particular area? If any pillar amongst these 5 is rotten, the whole building will collapse. As HR leaders, the levers we pull must be very, very concrete. We need to rewrite job designs, adopt sensible performance management systems and contracts in various areas. We need to map the citizen journey in any of the MDAs we are in, digitalize admin departments or anything administrative as much as possible, and then publish simple outcome metrics. Even if we can't publish it to the outside country, to the entire world as the case is, can we at least publish it to the staffs within the MDA at that point in time? Clearly, you agree with me that each of these 5 pillars are doable, but each demands deliberate leadership for us to pay attention to it and achieve results. Now, what exactly do citizens expect? And I'm speaking from a standpoint of being a citizen, and I'm sure you share similar thoughts. 1, speed and convenience. We want mobile-friendly services, clear timelines, turnaround time, whatever I said at that point in time. Citizens don't ask for miracles. We don't want miracles. We want reliable service, something we can count on, so to speak. If you say it's there, it's there. Whenever we go there, we should be able to see it. If we don't see it, some measure of tolerance level, 5%, 10%, okay? We can live with that as the case is, all right? Transparency also. We should be able to track. Is like when you buy something online on some of these e-commerce sites, there's a tracking code. When you visit the site, it shows you specifically where your item is, and then you follow it across down to that line. Can I track my international passport like that? Can I track my driver's license as the case is? For each of the services that I ask for from governance, can I consciously, deliberately be able to find the status, the stage it is at, as the case is. Then there's the issue of fairness and dignity also. We must treat people humane. We must treat people in such a way that they are another human being, as the case is, because we need to predict our processes as much as possible. Speed, transparency, fairness, tangible results. These are just the minimum we are asking for, as the case is, to be able to achieve this. Now, many of these things are low cost. They are low cost changes our executives, our leaders can implement. If we stop layering processes upon bureaucratic arrangements, as the case is, you notice that it is easier to achieve some of these things. I'm a HR professional, so I always speak from a HR point of view. So what should or what can HR do in order to drive and deliver these particular things? Our role is simple. Equip our people in public service and the processes they work with to deliver these outcomes that citizens want. And I'm sure some of the things I've listed here are similar to your own expectations. If we throw this conversation open to the public on social media, as the case is, I trust that a large percentage of Nigerians and people will agree that speed, transparency, fairness, and tangible results are things that they would love to go home with, as the case is. Now, it's not to say that there are no issues. There are constraints, there are pains, we must recognize them. And just like you look in the mirror and you see yourself in that particular mirror, these pain points stare at us on a daily basis. An example, paper-first processes is one of the major problems that we're having. It creates delays. It creates loss of accountability, as the case is. A lot of things are manual-driven, paper-driven, as the case is. 2, siloed data. The ministries, the MDAs do not speak to themselves, as the case is. Even within one ministry, within one MD, as the case is, the functional units, the departments inside it, do not have interchange of data, as the case is. In the private sector, we have what they refer to as ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning Applications, that synchronizes and syncs all departments into one master database, as the case is. We need such things also, so that we'll be able to speak the same language, the same truth, wherever we find ourselves at. These are not exotic problems that cannot be solved. They are things that we can solve easily. In public sector also, we still have problems with our promotion and reward system. A lot of people complain that they don't understand why everybody is rewarded equally and progressed equally, despite the fact that we are familiar that a large percentage cannot be bothered in service, as the case is. And of course, there's a low digital adaptation. And then there is heavy external stakeholder influence that you deal with regularly. Sometimes you can create a fantastic model and then take it to go and implement it, and they shut it down and they say no to you. Again, it starts from leadership. We need leadership to be able to respond and be able to address some of these concerns, as the case is. So they are ordinary, and ordinary problems have ordinary solutions. They have practical ways we can fix them. As HR leaders, we must stop treating them like they are immovable mountains, like we are cast in stone forever, as the case is. So we can do something in this particular area. Now, what can we really promise? What 3 commitments do I think that HR can commit to in order to achieve this? 1, I think I speak for more than 3 commitments, right? 1, measure what matters, right? And that focuses on ensuring you have a dashboard that shows standard KPIs, maximum 3 KPIs, or at the minimum 3 KPIs that citizens care about. Secondly, automate all routine. Anything that is routine, please automate it. Get technology by our side, as the case is. Free human time, so we can focus more on judgment, not on filling forms, as the case is. Then upgrade our skills, not titles. Yeah, titles are nice to have. They are emotional and our feeling, as the case is at that point in time. But at the end of the day, we still need the skills to be able to do the job. So we need rapid reskilling. In the webinar we ran on public sector transformation earlier this year, somewhere around July, this particular year, it was clear that it's going to take at least 10 years to upskill our current workforce in the public sector to be fit for purpose to best practice. And guess what? For every 6 months we miss, we add an extra 2 years to being able to achieve that particular thing, as the case is. So I'm sure these three commitments are things that we can achieve and can be delivered upon. And this we can do in these three items we can do in 90 days in each unit of public service. If you look at it as a big institution, it might be difficult to deploy as a big institution. But if you look at it within HR to say, okay, let's look at what we can do. I mean, the HR department can on its own identify 3 KPIs that they can track and report that make sense and begin to flash it across various dashboards. They can look at some internal routines and automate those routines. And they can upskill the capacity of their team members, because you see regularly training happening in the public sector. But to what extent are we able to transfer from classroom to the job at that point in time? Titi, I see your hand up.
Yes, I didn't. I just wanted you to repeat what you said. Did you say it would take 10 days or 10 years to upskill? I didn't hear you clearly.
10 years, 1, 2, 3 years.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Yes, because part of that upskilling, there is a first phase, there is a mindset shift. And changing mindset because if you attempt to upskill without changing mindset, it will be a waste. So in that analysis, we discovered that the first 1/3 of that 10 years, we focus on mindset, campaign, programs, trying to get people to understand why there is need for us to change before we even begin to teach the skills that are required, before we begin to teach the technological skills that are required to do the job. So it's quite a journey, as the case is. Thank you. Now, here are some evidences. When I was researching this program, I couldn't help but notice these three case studies that you may want to learn from, as the case is. One is from Rwanda, right? Rwanda has what they call performance contracts, right? And I think we can borrow from them. They use performance contracts and they focus on local delivery. And they target on service metrics wherever they implement it. Nigeria has a similar thing that was once implemented, this thing called Sabicom. If you're in public sector, you will know Sabicom, right? So there's a point in time when we implemented that thing, and we expected each government agency to be able to comply and show that they are service-driven, as the case is. In Rwanda, they measure it, they track it, they reward and sanction where it is working well and where it is not working well, as the case is. So that's something we can revisit again in our environment. That's why I say sometimes we don't even need to reinvent the wheel in our environment. Some of those systems are already there. Let's go and sweat them and bring them back to life so that they can work. In UAE, they rebuild services around the citizens. And many agencies now use off-the-shelf okay, before I come to that, many agencies use a lot of off-the-shelf government human resource information system. But what UAE did was just like you run annual survey in your organization, employee engagement survey, to find out what do employees feel, what do they want, what do we do to improve, to ensure that they are engaged. UAE actually runs an annual engagement survey about their citizens. And the citizens speak to what they expect, what they don't expect, and things like that. And government picks from that potpourri of feedback from the populace and uses it to build what they call service factories. And then they're able to cut out any delay and improve satisfaction across board. Again, something that we can do, as the case is. Let me take an example. Driver's license. It won't take much for us to get an IT department or an IT team or consultant to build a website, a simple survey website that the driver's license agency can advertise to entire Nigeria and say, what are your constraints? What are the issues you're having? Give us feedback. How do we make it work for you to make it look good as the case is? And I ask you, my daughter in US was telling me that there's a particular place, I don't know where it was mentioned, but there's a particular place where you apply for your driver's license, you do everything you need to do online, and then you go to an ATM machine. It's just like an ATM machine. The machine actually prints out a driver's license for you, as the case is. No queue, no agency, no go anywhere. Go online, fill the forms, go to the machine, put your thumbprint or put in your NIN as the case is, and a card is cranked out for you at that point in time. And then you move away, driving as the case is. Instant bottleneck removed 100% at that point in time. I think that can be done to some extent. So I'm sure it's something that we can implement. Maybe baby steps, right? We may not be able to deploy it across board, but at least a journey of 1,000 miles. Let's start with one step and see how far we can go with it at that point in time. Another institution is the use, again, still from UAE, where they have a choice of some human resource information system that government had approved for them to use and requested the various MDAs to try and deploy them. And I think that in Nigeria, something like that is also happening. I know in particular with respect to performance management, I know there is a mandate requesting that performance management should be paid attention to. And a lot of government agencies are trying to obscure the requirement in that particular area. So, I mean, if we spend some time and really research, we will find some best practice that we can implement, that we can fit into our model, or better still, ask our people, ask them what they would like to see and how they like to see, and we can implement those things at that point in time. All right, in our second, we shall look at how this can be done. We can look at the pillars that can drive this transformation, all right, and how these pillars can ensure how this can work as much as possible. Yes, exactly. Thank you very much for sharing, Titi. Through DMV in the US, the driver's license system. Thank you very much. Now, what are the pillars for transformation? Here are some pillars that we should pay attention to that can help us very quickly. One, remember we had mentioned it earlier, policy and governance, people and leadership, process and operations, technology and data, and stakeholder trust. Think of modernization like building a house. You do not start with the curtains. You don't go to the market and you start sewing the curtains you're going to put in the house, as the case is. No. First, you work on your foundation, and then you raise the walls before you install the doors and the lintels, as the case is. So the 5 pillars here are just foundations. It doesn't mean that once you do this, everything is okay. Reform is not about replacing government with technology. No, that's not what I'm pushing for. I'm not saying we should once we automate everything is solved. No, I'm not saying let's replace governance with technology. 2, reform is not about replacing government with slogans. So whether if we start with this slogan here, Nigeria made of more, Nigeria this, that does not change the issue on ground. It's about balancing leadership, our rules of how things are done, the workflows of how services are rendered, and ensuring that data and citizens have some measure of trust on what is going on. Fix one badly, and you notice that the rest will continue to suffer. In fact, the rest will drag you down from the one you have fixed at that point in time because you'll run out of energy. So just make sure you are adjusting the levers one after the other. Fix one well, and the rest can follow with the pattern you've created at that point. Because once you fix one very well, there'll be pressure on the other ones to also transform and change what they are doing, as the case is. You can see what is happening in FIRS. the transformation going on in that particular area. It is challenging all other ministries to also follow along. You can see what is happening in Lagos State Internal Revenue Service, and the way other states' internal revenue is challenging their own to ensure that they improve on what they are doing. And that's the way it works. See the transformation that happened within Lagos State and what Lagos has achieved. All other states are coming to learn to improve on what they are doing. And that's what we need. If you do it well in one area, it becomes a platform for others to learn and improve at that point in time. Let's drill deeper and talk about this policy issue. On the first one, policy and governance. Policy must free action, not smother it. It must replace long-winded characters with a single line outcome of what we want. It must replace input counting with output checking, as the case is. Where promotions reward presence and not performance, policy will undermine reform. If you promote people because they came to work and not because they perform at that point in time, we're going to have an issue. So when you tighten incentives around citizen outcomes, you only incentivize outcomes that the citizens get. You will see that behaviors will follow along those lines, predictably and very fast. Simple as the case is. And that's what we're trying to say around policy and governance as the case is at that time. The second pillar is on people and leadership. And when it comes to people and leadership, people respond to incentives that they see. It's the same thing. I think it was Robert Kaplan who said that people repeat what is rewarded, as the case is. All right. So performance contracts, once you keep it short and public, and you align it with the effort in the right outcome, people will replicate it. People will do it very often. Then you reskill most people. Very important. Reskilling must be rapid and it must be very practical. It should not be another lecture. It's not about this, if we are going for public sector training, 5 days training. First day we come in late. Then we do day 2, day 3. Day 4, we try to close early. Day 5, we go shopping and things like that. And then we drag ourselves. Gone are those particular days, all right? I'm not saying it shouldn't be 5 days, but I'm saying the current practice of 3-5 days program in public service is a waste of time. We can do 2 days. We can even do 1 day. We can do just-in-time training and development. Train and build the skill that is required for the first 1 month. Don't train for the skill of 1 year. Train for the first quarter. Let's use it that particular quarter. Let's come back again to class for another 1 or 2 days and build again at that point in time. You will notice that we'll get more results than the long thing that we currently do at this point in time. That doesn't help us. So we need to make promotion rules very transparent, not mystical, as if you belong to some kind of quintessential time for you to be able to achieve being promoted. It must be very straightforward. It must be predictable. If you say promotion is performance, clearly. If you say promotion is based on maturity, if you say promotion is based on number of jobs, roles, assignments, projects, department, managers that I have worked in, all right, clearly, people will gravitate towards making it happen at that point in time, all right? And leaders must show up. And this is where I have problems, not ceremony. Most times, each time our leaders show up, 90% of the time, it is ceremonial. Only 10% appears to be the real reason why they showed up at that point in time. Have you ever attended any function where we have leadership showing up at that point? You will notice that those functions, we spend more money and effort preparing for the entry and exit of those leaders than the actual thing the leaders are coming in to do at that point in time. Too much paparazzi, as the case is. We need to learn what the citizens see and see with their own eyes also. So when leaders listen, behaviors will gradually begin to change along those lines. How about our process? the processes that we see in governance, right? Let's start with the journey. I mean, for every service you render, please map out the citizen's journey on that particular service, not your internal organizational chart. I don't want to know who is director, deputy director, assistant director, senior manager, and co. It's not about the hierarchy within the MDA, but the journey, the touch point the customer goes through or the citizen goes through at that point in time. That's what we should map out first. Then map every hand off and ask the question at that point in time where the citizen is having a touch point. Does this step add value to the citizen? If it does not add value, remove it or automate it at that point in time. Then lock in an SLA in public view of how to measure and track it. So both the public servant that is working on it and the citizen working through it, both of them can track the success of what is going on at that point in time. Small processes cut compound into large performance gains. Let me give you a case study in this particular area. There are certain CCTV cameras within Lagos State. If you have a car that is Lagos State plate number and your plate number, your license has expired, or your MOT or something like that has expired, that camera picks it, immediately checks its database, identifies when you were due for renewal, and if you notice that it has passed, it instantly flags you, debits you, and gives you a card, a ticket, as the case is. And online, you visit the portal, you see that you have a ticket pending, you pay for it, and you're free right from your mobile phone, and you continue to drive your car. No interference of LASMA, policeman, or anything involved. Fully automated. And every citizen that complies with it will make money for government and will reduce the people and the processes that is involved in that particular area. That is just one area that could have been automated that does not add any value. In those days, the policeman or the VIO will catch you on the road, seize your papers, seize your document. You go to the bank, you queue, you go to one place to go and submit the form, and then sometimes you go and watch one TV program before they release you to go at that point in time. Seamlessness. So the citizen that then feels that it's okay for him to be paying for those violations, then government makes money out, as the case is. And then periodically, randomly, during their stop and check, they can randomly identify cars. Or once they upgrade to the next level, once you pass by the CCTV, instantly your plate number is flagged to the nearest police car that is parked there, and it picks you up, just like we see in the Western world. And then they flag you down and ensure that you do what you're supposed to do. So that is process and operations. The fourth one is technology. And I'm sure some of the things we mentioned so far, we've been weaving in technology inside it, as the case is. So technology is useful only when it is attached to a clear problem. Start with a basic human resource information system and a public dashboard, just those simple things, right? Tracking the metrics that our citizens care about or your target audience care about. Protect the data. I mean, NDP, Nigerian Data Protection Agency, have spoken quite a lot around protecting data. Make an explicit owner for each of those data sets and ensure that there are those who are capturing the data and ensuring that it is updated regularly. If possible, begin to use AI. And the Office of Service has also implemented their own AI. There was an AI that we watched at a point in time in one of the service programs that we attended, all right? That was built for our government, so to speak. You can query it and ask it questions about our policy of Nigeria and things like that, and it will respond. Built on top of ChatGPT. If you're interested, I can share that information with you once you send me a message as the case is. So you can download or you can add it as a plugin to your own ChatGPT. You can actually query it about Nigerian constitution, about Nigerian policies, and it will answer you very well. So use AI for routine requests and keep our people focused on judgment management. And that will work very well. The last part we may want to pay attention to is stakeholder trust. Building the trust of our various stakeholders. Trust is not softness, all right? It is a reform fuel. It publishes results publicly, right? Show you respond to complaints and partner for gaps. You can't do it alone. All right? There are agencies that have gotten it right. Go and see what they have done. If there are none that you can learn from, engage consultants. Let them work with you and build you and help you to build those things in place. All right? Do it in phases. Get it first time, correct step 1, step 2, step 3. In 3 years, 4 years, 5, in fact, within the lifespan of one administration, you will have seen quite a lot of transformation that could be done at that point in time. So small pilots that show measurable gains, right, makes skeptics to stop talking, as the case is. All right, it makes them speechless, as the case is. So trust compounds once citizens can see outcomes at that point in time. They begin to say positive things about our nation, as the case is. Yes, I'm going to share. I'm going to send that to you. All right. All right. Now let's look at what we've said so far. And this is, if you want to implement this, this is my 90-day plan of what you can do. In the first 2 weeks, do your stakeholder alignments. Publish one simple mandate that you are going to work on, and pick one visible KPI you're going to show to all of us, all right, or to your stakeholders about the results you're going to get in that particular area, all right? Don't try to modernize everything at once, right? Please work in 90 days loop. 90 days, do one thing, another 90 days, do another thing, as the case is. Simplify, then you can prove further at that point in time, okay? In 2 weeks, get agreement on which KPI to track, which one to work with. Escalate to leadership and see if you can get buy-in from leadership. It is very important that you get leadership buy-in. We once deployed a balanced scorecard performance management system in one of the MDAs, as the case is. And when we're done with it, 6 months later, when they changed, we had this giant dashboard, right? TV screens where we had all the KPIs they were showing in using the amber lights, the lights of traffic lights. So which ones are red, are struggling, which ones are about getting there, and green, the ones that are doing very well. All the KPIs clear on those dashboards. All directors were seeing it in the boardroom whenever they come for meetings, as the case is. And then we were visiting every 3 months, quarterly, to check that everything was working well. And we visited once upon a time and noticed that those screens that had KPIs and dashboard showing on them were showing home video. They have plugged onto them our African magic, as the case is. And we asked, what happened? What exactly happened here? And they say, well, that the new PAMSEC says that it was too transparent. What is all this information? That they should all remove all of them, as the case is. Again, make sure you get leadership buy-in, because sometimes not all your leaders may understand the journey you're trying to make at that point in time. Stage 2, take one process. One process. Eliminate 2 steps from that process. Then deploy one automation in that particular process. Finish, step back. Let's take it again. Identify one KPI. Remember, in day 1 to 14, identify one KPI you're going to work on. Then within that particular KPI you've identified, choose one process. Don't fix every process, just one. For that process, remove 2 steps inside it. If it used to be a 10-step process, make it 8. If it used to be 7, make it 5. Then deploy one automation inside it. Preferably anything that has to do with form filling. The average human being do not like to fill forms, right? Automate that particular thing, just one thing, as the case is at that point in time, all right? So in 45 days, remove steps and automate one task at that point in time. Then finally, in the last part of that particular period, as the case is, all right, launch one dashboard publicly, all right? And then run a 4 weeks reskilling program, sprint, for everybody that affects what is on that particular dashboard. Those who work directly, those who are responsible, those who are accountable, the data individuals, everybody, run a sprint training program for all of them to build them up, and then run a pilot performance contract to see how that goes, and then watch the numbers, watch the feedback, watch the response. Successfully on a weekly basis, share the data from it. Just do the way we share flyers, all consulting programs, share flyers on social media. Just share one slide, one simple graphics that shows the KPI currently, where we are, target, and all those things, and what we're achieving, and a small comment under it. You'll be amazed with the results you get with it at that point in time. In fact, you will become the love of your citizens, as the case is. Any MDA that is able to deploy that particular one. So what are we saying? Measure weekly, all right? If possible, single reports for leaders, as the case is in this particular area, so you can capture those things very, very well. Now, what I've said is not that easy and straightforward. There are risks. You must recognize that there are risks inherent in them for us to be able to do these things very well. One, you might experience political interference down the line. So expect it, it will come, all right? There will be capacity gaps. There will be revision to old ways. People will go back to their old ways once you leave them, just like we move back from our dashboard to home video, as the case is. Data will get missing. Files will get missing. Those are things that bedevil. Expect these particular things, all right? So reform faces predictable risk. Name them and neutralize them upfront. Political risk is best handled by making reform public and cross-party, making sure that all stakeholders that are involved see the same dashboard and the same templates. So people will complain less. People will have less power to say remove it because there are other people watching it at that point in time. Capacity gaps are solved by temporary reassignments and partnering. Training may not completely solve all the gaps that you have, because some people need a long time for them to begin to apply what they have. Why don't you redeploy people from certain areas to the areas that are critical? Get partners to work with your team members for a short time period, 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, while they transfer knowledge at that point in time. That is what we do in private sector. In private sector, in manufacturing, in construction, as the case is, if it is something that is a specialist area, we'll get expatriates. They come in, they sit down with us. 1 year, 2 years down the line, they transfer the knowledge and the expertise, and then they move on, and then we'll carry on at that point in time. Let's practice similar things and be able to put it in place. So reversion is usually best fought by reading. Short circles, visible. If you notice that data is being abused, ensure that there's clear governance around your data. These are not philosophical fixes to solve the problems. They are daily management. You must be a hands-on manager to be able to ensure that you take care of risk, because risk does not rest. Risk will fight you to a standstill whenever they find it at that point in time. So that's the pillars, and those are some of the things you can do in those areas. Now, is it doable? Can you implement this? Is this something you can go into the market with? Let me see if I can share some operational tools and frameworks that you can use to implement this. Our time is very short. There's so much that can be said, but I just have 1 hour. But let's see what we can do. Some tools and frameworks that you can use in this particular area. You need to turn your strategy into a reading. Tools are the things you need to be able to achieve that. Focus on fixable friction, automate routines, right? And measure the rest as much as possible. Start with maximum 3 integrations. Remember, I will say map only one process. Do not integrate more than 3 things, all right? Don't try to do everything at once. I know there are a lot of things you want to fix, but start somewhere. It's like when you have a buffet, when a buffet is served, and you get to that maybe restaurant or the hotel, and then you say, wow, you open all the pots, the exciting things you like to eat, and then you start taking small from everywhere. You will not enjoy the buffet. But identify top 3 or 4 things in that entire spread of table. balance very well, and enjoy the meal as the case is. Same thing also when it comes to transformation. Identify 3 integrations. Fix them and fix them very well before you move on to other areas that you like to address at that point in time. You need to really work on digital. Begin with the citizen or staff journey from the moment work starts to the moment work ends. Map it visibly. If possible, map it on your wall. Take one wall in the office. Use stick-on notes or something like that. Map the journey of everybody and write the issues and complaints that are under each of those particular journeys. You can ask questions like, does this step add value to the person who is waiting in queue? If not, can we cut it off? Can we automate it? Can we do a small test with a small team that does without that step? Let's see how it comes out for them as the case is at that point in time. All right? And then let your data guide you. The data that you're getting, let it decide, all right, to help you in that particular area to achieve results as the case is. Also consider your human resource information systems and services as the case is. Pick what will fit you, not what has a lot of features. This one has plenty of features inside it. It has leave, it has loan, it has succession plan, it has talent management, it has talent pool, it has bench strength, it has, please, it's not a soup. Just pick the tool that addresses that problem and addresses it very well. Even if that tool has, stick with that 4 features. When we have succeeded, the success you will pay for the tool and will pay for any upgrade you need to do down the line as the case is. So choose what matches public rules and your capacity to manage and handle it at that point in time. Don't buy a tool that you need consultants to sit with you forever before you get it done. There's one client I have currently who are currently dealing with their ERP system. They picked up an ERP that is bigger than them. And then they have a foreign institution that is managing the process for them and is always cutting their neck with regular bills, and yet the people are not learning and using it. So try and use something that is open source so you can get any programmer to be able to build and adjust it whenever you need it at that point in time. Just make sure it is well prepared as the case is, all right? And then look at what your MDAs are allowed to do and what they are allowed to do when it comes to buying technology. Most important feature is to ensure that your HR data can be shared with your finance data, right? And with your work process, core work process at that point in time. Integration beats features. If it can integrate, it is better than the features that it has at that point in time. And that can help you to achieve great results. If you're able to put this in place, then you notice that you're working very well and you can make significant progress at that point in time. Then when it comes to your people capability, skills that you must build and build them now. 1, digital fluence. Skills that train for digital fluence. Very important. From designs to basic dashboards to platform use and stuff like that. Train for those particular things. 2, build for process thinking. All right. From mapping to measuring to experimentation. Train your people how to map, how to measure, how to experiment, how to research, how to use data, how to do analytics, data analytics. It's something you must train your people in those particular areas. Then look at skills that require them to face citizens. Service excellence, as the case is, empathy, soft skills, communication skills,
it's 1 o'clock.
Discipline, all those things. Ensure you train up, at least, even if the people are not getting service, let them be treated well. Let them walk away happy that they were treated like a human being, even though they didn't get the service that they came for at that point in time. Instead of being insulted, despite the money they have paid and not getting the service at that point in time. If possible, do a lot of e-learning. If your team members are not attuned to e-learning, do a lot of in-house sessions. Those micro-learning, we have deployed the micro-learning in an area where the institutions do not want to do anything e-learning. But we were there in that organization 3 times every week to run a 1-hour training program every morning. Each morning, starting team members come in, there are facilitators who send there every day, 3 times in a week, who go in there and train them for that 1 hour. And they continue to build their skills. No matter what it is, you can find a way around your own situation, as the case is at that point in time. If people practice new skills on live data and live problems, you see they will learn faster. They will be forced to adjust, and then they will implement some of the things they've seen in those particular areas. I also try to do a couple of research to ensure that this can work for you. Before I share with you additional references, let me just give you a final, that's not what I wanted to share. Let me give you some things you need to do to help you walk through it. One, make sure there's a sponsor. There must be a senior leader on board, because sometimes in our environment, leadership and hierarchy still matters. So make sure there is a senior person who is behind you and supporting you. So and when you meet roadblocks, there's someone that will pull for you and speak for you down the line, right? Like I said, work in cycles of 90 days, all right? Don't try and put 1 year or 2 year plan. It can fail. It's too long. 1 year, 2 years is too long in public service, as the case is. Create small operation cells that meet regularly, preferably on a weekly basis. 3-5 persons. Let them be your think tank. They meet regularly to see the progress, how they are going at that point in time, and then be able to manage those processes at that point in time. All right. And then you can achieve as much as possible. In terms of some resources, here are some resources I came across, and I think you can use it very well, as the case is from World Bank, from OECD, from IHRIS, from new governments, and also from McKinsey. These are useful information, and the links are there. So once you get your resources for this particular webinar, you can be able to visit them and gather more information on how you can replicate some of the things they've done in those particular areas. And then you can then shift and achieve better results in those areas. All right, so let's summarize what we have said so far today. Key takeaways, what you must remember: simplicity over public funfair matters a lot. 3 truths, right? Fix the small things first. Train the people who will use the tools and measure what the citizens care about. Modernization is not a single battle. It is a rhythm of small wins. You win them gradually as you progress. So when you publish one honest number, you change the conversation at that point in time. Take one of these as your takeaway and make it your first action point once you go back into your team to deliver results as much as possible. Please guard your reform, because it will be attacked regularly. Short circles, public scorecards, named sponsors are things you can do to reduce what will lead them to fighting you and preventing you from achieving results in this particular area. All right. And once again, if I revisit the timeline I mentioned earlier for implementing this, get a sponsor, somebody who can work with you in those particular area. Select one paper or one area you want to commit. Run a 60-minute briefing session regularly with your front line. Then build a one-page dashboard. One page. We don't have to go to several screens. And then announce your pilots. And your sponsor must be behind you at that point in time. If you do that, you will achieve better results. Do not leave this chat room, this webinar, with mere intentions. In 7 days, you can do something, right? From the things we have mentioned from this line. And if it is not 7 days, it could be 30 days for you. Make sure you're able to achieve something in this particular area. All right, what can we do for you? We can give you some support if you choose to implement some of the things we've mentioned here or any other transformation, as the case is. If you want help that works, ask for a small pilot, all right, not the big program. We will help you to craft a sponsor brief, create a 90-day playbook, what you're going to work on, even a dashboard, help you to develop a dashboard and help you to defend it. We can come in for your meetings and come and make the presentation for you, all right? To make this happen, just feel free, book a 30 minutes, a 15 minutes or 30 minutes free discussion. I can have that chat with you, consultation. Just scan the code on your screen or visit this particular link that is on the screen and book a time with me. I'll find time to discuss this with you and see how we can progress it at this point in time towards your own organization. So this is where we will come to the end of our conversation today, and I'll welcome your questions and feedback if there are any other questions that has not been addressed so far. Very much for sharing and being a part of this conversation.
Thank you so much. This has been an eye-opener. Well appreciated. I hope your email in sending the materials will get to us. I think there must have been a mix-up in your reply to all those that registered. So I hope your email in sending the materials will come through okay. Thank you so much, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you. It's sorted out now.
Thank you so much. Very enlightening. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.